So, hello again, dear ones. Uh, Thank you so much for being with us here at this time because it is an amazing time in the history of humanity. And it is an amazing time in the future of humanity. And that's all happening in this now moment. Our theme this month that we've been playing with is the days in between. These kind of heavy summer days that feels easier to do nothing and just wait for the sun to go down. And by then it's time to head to bed. These days where we just watch the gardens grow, and if we have to, we break out the hose and water down the vegetables. But the days in between are an opportunity, I believe, to embrace our talk title today, which is Bridging the Past and the Future. And when I first sat down to look at this topic, the immediate imagery of a bridge came to mind. So if you imagine a bridge, there's a pillar on one side of a large chasm or gap in the earth, and on the other side there's generally another pillar, and you have these two pillars, and in between those pillars a road deck, and along that on the road deck there's usually some sort of way to suspend that bridge or hold or add some tension to that whole structure, and somehow it all stays together. Bridges by themselves are engineering marvels, and we are a bridge as well. In our daily lives, we are a bridge between the divine and the human. Sometimes we spend more time on one side of a bridge than we do the other. And ultimately, however, bridges are an avenue through which we can traverse states of consciousness. One that in this case, as we'll look at today, we define as the past. And the other state of consciousness is the perception of future, of what's coming next, of what we're going to do with what we know now. And along the way this week, in contemplating and pondering this topic, one of the something really unique came to me. It's a quote. I couldn't find where it came from. And I thought it fit so well with what I wanted to talk about today. The the past is a point of reference, not a place of residence. I want to say that again real quick. The past is a point of reference, not a place of residence. I've been a part of this New Thought movement for over 20 years, and I've heard the joke about, yea, though we may walk through the valley of the shadow of death, we're not going to pitch a tent, plant, park an RV, start a community, or any other thing, right? We've all heard that joke, I would trust. If you haven't, well, there it is. And I want us to go beyond what we've known for 20 plus, 25, maybe longer, maybe more years. Some in this community have a great depth and history of exploring these concepts and how do we bring these ideas to life. And this community has its past, its history, its origin point, its story of how we became. But all of that is nothing more than a point of reference. It's not the place we reside, and it's not the place we live, and it's not the place where we grow. And remember, this is all we're talking about our consciousness here. So when we talk about a place, when I'm talking about a place today, we're talking about a state of consciousness. It doesn't take very far wandering outside my door to see that life is still incredibly different than it was 5 years ago. And in human terms, we have a tendency to use some of these numbers to gauge and use as reference points along our journey. Where were we 5 years ago? Where do you want to be in 5 years? Where were we 10 years ago? Where do you want to be in 10 years? What's your 6 month, your 1 year, your 3 year goals and your objectives? We have this tendency to want to fit everything into these nice sort of boxes. And I've used this example a number of times this year of let's go back and let's look at where were we 5 years ago? Where were we 5 years ago? Where were you in August of 2020, July of 2020? As I remember it, we were still pretty well locked down. We were beating pots and pans at 5 p.m. or something like that, scare the heck out of the dogs. We were walking more, but being very cautious of others. We were shopping less and um and being very, very cautious of what we allowed into our environment. And in the last 5 years, we've crossed a bridge. We've crossed a bridge from lining up to go grocery shopping to having groceries delivered at reasonable and easy to use ways. We've crossed a bridge from in the AI world. We've crossed a bridge in our political world. Well, we're still kind of anchored on one side there, aren't we? On that human side, on that what's in it for me side. But in so many other ways, we have made that journey from the horrible ugliness of that human experience. I believe, and I'm witnessing a greater embrace of our spiritual truth. We have journeyed across the bridge from the human, and we are crossing into that space of a divine consciousness, of a consciousness of oneness. And it's not just this community, and it's not just Centers for Spiritual Living, and it's not even just the New Thought movement. I'm seeing it everywhere. On YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, on TikTok. I don't actually look at those last two, but I got to throw them in there for the people that do. Everywhere you look these days, you will see this spiritual universal truth that we teach. The past is a point of reference, not a place of residence. So where do we want to reside? I want to reside on the far side of the bridge. And every so often, even though I do everything I can to live on the far side of the bridge, on that side of that conscious state of our oneness and our connection and the beauty and the majesty and the perfect order and the abundance and the prosperity and all that God is in our lives, in my life, I want to be in that space, that consciousness 24/7, 365, no exceptions. Who's with me? But a lot of the world lives on that, back on that other side of the bridge. They make their residency in their past. They say this is the way it is, and we've got to go back and make it that way again. This is the way it was, and I can't let go of that. In our culture, we have a tendency to make it wrong or make it bad, to let go of things that no longer serve. I want to be straight up. Going to the grocery store and spending an hour, half hour of my day just doesn't serve anymore. Spend that half hour sitting in front of my computer telling somebody else to go do my grocery shopping and put my time and my effort into that greater experience of how to be on the side, or how to be in that consciousness, that state that recognizes everything is working out, that everything is working towards our highest and our best. And on occasion, yeah, I forget to put broccoli on the list and I got to go to the store. Or I want a little treat and I got to go out into the world. Or the car breaks down and you got to go deal with the mechanic. Or you're doing a project and you need to go to one of those big box hardware stores, which, yeah, can't wait till somebody will just do that stuff. When we do have to go out into the world, we go out into the world as emissaries of the light. We go out into the world as emissaries of truth. We go out into the world as emissaries of new thought, of this such a transformative philosophy when we live it. And I want you to know, I recognize that I'm not really talking to anybody in this room when I remind you that you got to live it. Because I witness the people in this room that are watching here live living it. I do. I see that in you. And there's a lot of people that are stuck on the other side of the bridge that aren't willing to make that journey. In spiral dynamics, there is a part of that philosophy, there is a tenet, if you will, a principle in that philosophy that it says transcend and include. Transcend and include. So when we transcend, when we fully anchor ourselves in the spiritual realm, and we are no longer just visiting on Sundays or Wednesdays, when we have made that transcendence in our own lives to a place where we are living, creating an environment energetically, vibrationally in our pain bodies and in our divine bodies, when we are living there and traveling back out into the world, our work is to include those people, not to exclude, but to recognize that they have everything necessary for their own transcendence as well. And the truth of it is, I don't have to fix anybody. I don't have to tell anybody what they're doing wrong. I don't have to go out there and try and make it better. I don't have to change anything that's happening in that human realm. I just have to be a living vibration, a living demonstration, a living vision of what it's like to have transcended into a higher state of consciousness. And hear me when I say that higher isn't even the right word. It's an expanded state of consciousness. There's no linearness about this. It's not, oh, I'm a little better than you because I know this stuff, or I practice this stuff, or I've created a life where I'm allowed to live this stuff more fully every day and in every way. It's not that we're better. It's that there's an expanded state of consciousness, an expanded awareness of how incredibly magnificent, easy, flowing it is to be in the beyond. And that's what that's the term I'm starting to use for what we're stepping into, both individually and collectively. I don't believe that if you're not ready, I fully believe that if you're not ready for what's about to happen on the planet in our state of consciousness collectively as God, if you're not ready for what's about to happen, you wouldn't be hearing these words to begin with. So I know I'm kind of preaching to the choir here. Regardless of how we have been, regardless of the places we have traveled in our past, they are but reference points of what we may or may not want to repeat in our beyond, in what comes next. And what comes next is a decade of glory and transformation, a decade of stepping into who we have truly come here to be and demonstrating the divinity that we bring with us. You with me? I won't do that joke. You all know it. Because right now, this is not a joking matter any longer. It's pretty obvious to me that in many ways that human side, that cultured side, that place that stuff we've all been trained to believe, it seems pretty obvious to me that that is the fire of the phoenix just getting started. And we do need to be in that space, I believe, of the beyond, on that spiritual side of the bridge. Those with the eyes and the ears to see and to hear will make the journey, and we welcome them and we support them in their transcendence. We are forever reaching back to say we come. It is amazing in this place. But it's not ours to save them. And it's not ours to tell them they're doing it wrong. And it's not our place to tell them how to do it the right way. We just do it. You've probably caught me say over the last couple of years a quote by Reverend Dr. Johnny Coleman: "It works if you work it." You've probably heard me say that now is the time to work it. And what I want you to know is I know you already are. You wouldn't be in this community. You wouldn't be hearing these words. You wouldn't be seeing this online. You wouldn't, this message would not find you if you were not already involved. Now we get to amp it up. Now we get to turn it up. And for some reason, the immortal words of Spinal Tap come to me and remind me that my amp goes to 11. So turn your vibration up to 11. Turn who you are up beyond what you have ever thought possible. We are all here to bring more greatness into the world. We are all here to bring more joy into the world. We are all here to put a little more love in the world. We are all here to be the divine in such amazing and bright and shining ways that those with the eyes to see are blinded by their opportunity to join us in consciousness and in form. If you're in a safe space to close your eyes, I invite you to please do so. Join me in a prayer of recognition, for that is where we always begin, recognizing the one. recognizing that one power, that one presence, that one infinite intelligence that moves and breathes and has its being as all of life, that one self-existent cause that is right now taking on form and experience, taking on form as my life, as your life, as all of life. This one moves and breathes and has its being as love and light and beauty and truth and health and wealth and well-being and abundance and prosperity, as community, as compassion, as connection, and as the evolution, as the great beyond, as that divine urge, that calling within to be, to serve, to love, to show up. I claim for each one here a deep sense and a deep recognition that there is nothing broken, nothing wrong, nothing absent, nothing missing from your life. Never has been, never could be. The truth is you are whole and complete in your divinity right now, and we are right now agreeing in our own way, silently to ourselves, agreeing to strip away the layers that no longer serve. Let go of the identities and the divisions and the concepts and the ideas of who we are or what we're supposed to be, to let go of all that has been put upon us so we may stand in the glory of the vibration of it, of what the truth is, who we have come here to be. And what I know is I know our journey never ends. Our journey is forever continuing. And so any perception of lack or limitation, we let that go as well. Stand in the vision, in the vibration of a perfect body temple, of a perfect community, a perfect domicile, a perfect everything revealing itself, coming together, perfect connections, raising up a vibration that casts aside any doubt and embraces the glory of our now future moment, of right now stepping into that now vision, that future vision of who we are, who we are, not what shall be, but who we are. Divine, complete, perfect, whole, oneness, revealing itself as you and as everyone around you. I know this same truth for everyone on this planet, everyone beyond this planet, even beyond this life form. The oneness is everywhere. So we bask in that knowing. I invite you into a deep sense of gratitude for the reminder of this truth and a sense of letting it all happen, letting it all be, letting go of any concerns about how or when or why, letting go of any timelines or mandates for when it should happen, letting go so that we may witness the majesty of the divine unfolding. I loose this word into the universal law, that creative law that must return this word fulfilled, and let it be. And as an affirmation of truth, I invite anyone that in any way resonates with any of what's been said here today to simply make the affirmation by joining in saying, and so it is.
And so it is.